time. And we are live.
There we go.
We're live. And this is episode 51, everybody. Episode 51. So we shall go. And now.
Mid-Geek rises.
You know, I'm sure he doesn't even listen. But I love the fact that it's just sped up.
It's like, you know, those YouTube memes where it's like B movie, but every time they say B, it gets faster. We should do that, right?
Yeah.
Like every week we should make it faster.
I can do that.
Welcome to the Mid-Geek crisis.
Yeah. We're letting everyone take a slow day. I get it. It's after Halloween. It's the first week of November. The Christmas season is upon us.
We have fallen back, as they say.
We have fallen back. Let me tell you.
Hello, Legacy 7070. Thanks for joining us.
What's going on? Daylight savings is one of the, we have been on this earth 30 plus years, 40 plus years now.
10,000
10,000 years. It's been 10,000 years. And I never get used to it. Are we not supposed to? Is it some government conspiracy to like mess with us in some way?
Yeah, I mean, somebody told me it was for the farmers, but I don't know what it's about. You would think we at this point we would know. We bother researching it, but I feel like I appreciate it's for the farmers. I will say that before we flipped over, it was really hard for me to wake up in the morning. Like, I don't know if because the sun, it was so dark in the mornings. You know, now with the fall back, it's a little bit brighter when I wake up.
So that's my question, because I'm of the mind that I prefer getting up when it's dark and then like being at work by the time the sun comes up. But you like the opposite. I'm guessing
it just feels easier to wake up when the sun's up, right? Then I'm like, all right, time to toil. Like it just feels easier. And there you go, Rolls. Yep, baseball season's over. Yes, baseball season is over, and that's when daylight savings times occur. For some folks, baseball season ends, a lot earlier. My Yankees ended a little bit earlier in the year than others.
Mine ended at the last day. My Stros lost it at the end there. But
no, I mean, it's always nice to be nominated.
Yeah, no, it was a good season. I will say that out of all the kerfuffle that happened, there was all sorts of weird news in the media regarding the whole baseball season and like the Astros and some of the remarks that one of their managers did, and just all the mess. I will say that
I missed this news. Were they terrible?
No. Well, so there was just we picked up one of the pictures.
When you say we, can we just put a little thing at the bottom that says you are not actually representing or talking about the Houston Astros?
It's a sports thing. Right? Come on, man. Come on. I know you're not a big sports guy. I know that you're a Yankees guy because
I'm a big Yankees guy.
But like
it's conversation. Listen, it's nerds of all kinds, Jordan. Nerds of all kinds. And I happen to know that you're a fan of Ohio State, right? And you say we as well, as if you.
Right.
Watching the game,
I honestly don't know what it is.
Nothing impacts the game by saying we. Nothing.
I know, I get it, but I don't know what it is. It's something about like there's that team pride, and you're one of the group. It's the we, the royal we.
It's absurd tribalism, and it makes no sense, especially when it comes to sports and professional sports. Because, I mean, I'd be willing to bet money that there's probably maybe 2 people on the Houston Astros actually even from the state of Texas.
Right. No, sure,
right?
Sure. Actually, most of them.
Oh, there we go, Buckeye. See, look at that, Rolls and Jordan.
Yeah, there you go.
Up here in Syracuse, you can only cheer for Syracuse. Somehow, Jordan cheers for Ohio. It makes no sense.
People in Syracuse don't cheer for Syracuse. The only sport that matters to them is the basketball.
It's all basketball. It's all basketball all day long.
Yeah, they're when I was in Syracuse, they were like, we have a football team. They're really not a big deal there, which is kind of sad because, they
do have a football team.
They do.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, they should be better because they train in like colder weather. They should be
going on, Tim.
Better for football. There we go, Tim. Joski.
Yeah,
and Brian, thanks for joining us, Brian and Rose. Appreciate
Brian,
everybody.
Thanks everybody.
We actually started our gamer nerd show with sports talk somehow because I was teasing Joe about
the Wii, because I was talking about the Stros and the Wii thing, and I think in general, when you are a member of a group, don't you ever call yourself like we? You speak. You don't speak for the rep for the organization in any way, but like I don't know, maybe
no, I don't. Even as a diehard Yankees fan. Through and through, I always talked in terms of them.
Yeah, but you're from New York. You throw your neighbor under the bus when they do bad. You're like she shouldn't have been standing there. Like that's not the Nintendo Wii.
Never your neighbors, only the tourists. Okay,
right. Yeah, the neighbors too. You guys are like, oh, she died 6 months ago in the apartment. They found her. The rats had eaten her. Like, come on.
And then soon after, it's like, is there an apartment available? I know it's a little bigger and it's rent stabilized.
I was already living here. I was on the lease, so whatever the price she was paying, she was paying what $2.75.
Regardless, I'm a huge. The Yankees. Yeah, shouldn't have been standing there. Yep. And then Yankees. Right. That's what's. It's actually. I realized baseball is the only professional sport that I even give. I mean, I don't want to say I care about, but I care. I even give a little bit of enthusiasm towards, right?
Yeah,
like I don't.
Yeah. Well, to be fair,
what
I like about baseball is it's a Latino power sport. Like it seems like the Latinos get to really flex their muscle there. They don't have to be the biggest guy. They just have to be like. I mean, look at Altuve. Venezuelan little guy. 4 feet. 1 inch or whatever, and he's like a powerhouse, and he's like a man among men. So it's interesting.
And UFC. What
really UFC?
Good for you, man.
UFC's interesting.
It's hard to watch me. It's hard for me to watch, and I don't know if it's because of my age or is it because of my experiences. It's hard for me to watch two people pound on each other the way they do in UFC. Like boxing has a little bit of a dance, and it seems to be rules. UFC, man, it's hard for me to watch. I just can't. I can't stomach it. I'm a weak stomach when it comes to that kind of violence.
Yeah.
Even the video games are tough for me. Yeah, sports talk. All kinds of nerds are celebrated here, right? All kinds of nerds are celebrated here.
I mean, let's be honest. Us nerds, we unite. Some of us are sports guys. Some of us aren't. I get it. But I always find it hilarious when the guy that isn't the nerd, that isn't the D&D guy or whatever, and they're deep into like fantasy. And so they're playing fantasy and they're like, oh, my running back ran this many points for the weekend and this and that. And I'm like, are those stats? Did you roll? Did they roll initiative before that? Like what?
You min-maxed your fantasy team based on people's holiday schedules and whether or not they had a wedding that weekend. Like, are you kidding me?
That's right. Min-maxing. Oh, God.
They have their own secret language, their own shortcuts. It's teasing.
Yeah.
And you know what, Rolls? I'm with you there. It's like UFC looks like a bar fight. Like it's really visceral. And I understand the appeal of that sort of visceral violence. While boxing has always been a sport of finesse and skill, right? It's always seemed to me, especially on the lower weights, not the heavyweights, but on the lower weights, it's always been one of finesse. Like you really got to strategize your way to the boxing match. I'm sure UFC, to the fans out there, I'm sure UFC has its own strategy and things like that. But it often looks to me like two people in arm locks punching each other in the,
So it's a bit of both because I like boxing. I like especially the lightweight, the featherweight and all that because it's faster. There's a lot more movement, et cetera. Mm-hmm. It's not the big dudes. But I was reading there was the boxer that just passed away recently due to the head trauma, and I was reading a lot of the science behind it, and they're like boxing. I don't want to get into like the whole like classism that is boxing, but that's what it started off, right? The poor fighting for the rich, for the money, for the title.
Yeah. I mean, it's a low barrier entry too, right?
Right.
Like,
but
really, you just got to be able to move and keep your fist up.
What people don't understand is they're like, oh, well, they got gloves on, so there's protection. Like, no, actually, it's a fist actually does less damage than some of those punches in the glove because of the way it distributes the force. So there's like science behind it. Yeah. So that's what they were saying. They're saying that, and then people.
I always thought the gloves weren't to protect the head, but to protect the hands. Right. That's why you wrap. That's why you wrap. You put on the gloves and all that stuff.
Right,
So you
right.
don't
So
break
there's
your
science
fingers
behind
and-
it, but the force gets evenly distributed as opposed to like you laying on it and then hitting them only with this part of your hand. So like no matter what, you're always going to get the flat hand, and you're always going to give them that full echo, that full power blow. So it's boxing is crazy, man. But
boxing's nuts.
yeah, all sports
Boxing's
are
nuts.
always fun.
And not to say that I don't enjoy an amazing like YouTube video or cutscene of a couple like great knockout hits or great like moves in UFC or any of those like mixed martial arts fighting. But I couldn't watch a whole match, or I couldn't be a fan of it. It's just it's too violent for me.
Yeah, no,
Jordan, you're right. Like if they allowed weapons, it would literally be gladiators. Yeah. And I mean, you go into the darker places on YouTube and there are people in armor fighting each other, right? In other countries, and just sort of like Renaissance style battles in rings, and we're almost there. We're like I would say one more Trump term away from gladiator fights in the streets, right? That's what it comes down to. One more term. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Rolls, for bringing us back to video.
Woo, brought it back. Rolls gets the points. I love Mike Tyson Punch Out. I love it. I don't know if it's the second best, and also Mario 3. I can say that it might be the best Nintendo, the original NES game. What do you think?
I can't argue with that assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I have nothing but fond memories of that game. I can't think of anybody who's ever besmirched Super Mario Bros. 3. Duck Hunt. So I played that this weekend at Retro Game Con here in Syracuse, which was a blast.
Control the ducks?
No. I just dropped the duck on there, and they had the original sort of curved screen TV. And
CRT.
See, I don't remember it being so easy. I don't know if like I've just got years of gun experience on video games, but like
probably
I was just dominating those ducks. Zelda was great, Tim, but I don't know that it was the best. I don't know that. I mean, I played Zelda, I beat it. Super Mario Bros. 3 I would put on all the time. It had 2-player.
The argument against Zelda that I can say now is giving Zelda a copy of Zelda to someone that has never played an NES game and dropping them into the world that is Zelda, the original one, is very difficult. Back in the day, we had magazines, Nintendo Power, more than one kid playing it at a time, telling you kind of that word of mouth scenario. A good example is I watched a walkthrough of it the other day because I was playing it a little bit. And I was like, hey, I don't remember where this part is. And I was watching a walkthrough. And how many bushes you have to burn to find certain spots. Like there's all sorts of hidden, but there's no context in the game whatsoever.
Nintendo games were like that. Like Metroid was like that. There was literally no clues.
What faulted Metroid?
Castlevania was wretched for that nonsense.
So
no idea where to go in those.
Was really bad for it because it was one of the first games that you had to go back and forth, and since the graphics weren't as deep, the palettes weren't any different. So there were just corridors that were the exact same color. They wouldn't even change the color because they didn't have enough memory. So you didn't know which one you were at. There was no map in the game, so there wasn't select and show you where the map is.
You could draw it on paper. Did you draw it on graph paper?
Yeah, draw it on graph paper. Absolutely.
Up, down, over, side passage.
Yep. And I remember playing Castlevania 3. And that one also had, when you beat a level, it would give you a path, and you can take a path. And depending on which path you took, you'd run into other characters that you'd unlock. So that's where you unlocked the wizard Silva. You can unlock Alucard.
Thanks for joining, Adam.
Yeah, F for respects. It is 5 years ago today that Call of Duty released their version of the game. It was the press F for respects at the funeral. So today is that's why the episode name for today is press F for respects.
Which was resoundingly mocked for the ludicrousness of it, but we still have games that have press whatever to proceed. Like it has no gameplay, no value, no skill is required to do it, but that's still like a game thing. Red Dead Redemption, which I've been blasting all year because it disappointed me so much, has that same sort of mechanic where it's like, fix this wagon wheel, press Y to proceed, but there's no skill involved. It's just like play this gamer thing. So press F for pay respects.
We've talked about this before. Batman Arkham Asylum, the first one. We've talked about this, how it's Batman, right? And you're running around, and then there's a moment where you like hit a wall, and then there's a grate, and then you have to like hit
press A.
press A multiple times to pull this grate off. And I'm like, he's Batman.
So if you don't press it fast enough, you don't proceed. Like, it doesn't summon more thugs. It doesn't, like, there's no skill involved. It's just either press A fast or press A fast or press A fast. There's nothing else to do, right?
Well, if you press it slow, it resets, right? Because it's like he grabs and then he braces. But if you let go, he goes.
He puts it back
I don't know what he does. He just puts it back he tightens it up again. I don't know. So like, there's no like, it's not like 5 presses and he pulls it off. You have to press it fast to go boom, and he pops it. I'm like, why? What is that?
You know what game I know? Well, Outer Worlds is ridiculously good at having gotten rid of all that useless flufla. Like,
oh yeah,
literally like, oh, you want to pickpocket this person? Press A and hold it. You want to pick this lock? Press A and hold it. There's no stupid mini lockpick game that adds no value. It's just press A to hold it if you've got the skill power.
6 lockpicks trying to break it eventually. And
then, you remember Skyrim? I mean, I bet a bunch of folks on our feed here has played Skyrim.
If you haven't,
your save game, how many lockpicks do you have in your inventory at the end of those save games? I had hundreds, if not thousands, of lockpicks.
You were encumbered by them.
No, they had no weight, which is why you go to study.
They had no weight. It's so funny. You could have a million of them, but yet it was still
1,000,000 of them. And you'd break 18 opening a lock, and you're like, "Who gives a shit? I have 300 more." So it's just like no value to that game system.
So speaking of Red Dead Redemption launched on PC today. Yeah, you know, out of nowhere, the announcement came like a week and a half ago, and then it was like boom, coming out for PC. And
did it Steam Store? It's on the Steam Store, right? Not just on the Epic Store.
It's on the Steam Store, and it's having problems. Rough launch.
What? What are the snow physics not working?
It's the horse testicles.
Oh, horse testicle
the
physics.
Horse testicle physics slow down the entire game.
It's too much to handle.
Too much to handle.
Working it blue.
Guys, if you weren't here a year ago, we talked about that. We had a whole discussion on the horse testicle physics. It's been a year, man. It's been a year since the game launched. It's kind of interesting.
Holy cow, it has been a year, and I have not played more than. I feel bad. Epic banning that dude for life, which from Fortnite. Some dude got banned from this news. I don't know.
That's right. So good call out there. Thanks, Tim. You know what? Good for them. So this is an interesting story. I was reading it. My buddy Eddie posted it, and I commented on it earlier. And yes, he deserves it. So the story goes that he was using an aimbot on a stream. Apparently, not his legit account. It was a secondary account, and he was streaming and kind of like playing around, and he got banned. Gosh. But like, he's also a pro. And so they banned his main account, not the account that he was cheating on as well. So they banned him completely because he's a streamer and he's a pro and he represents the game. And so he was cheating. And so they banned him.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, don't stream while you're doing it. Don't monetize. So like, my problem with it, and I posted it in my little comment, my blurb, was that even though he might have been using his main account, which I thought he was at the time, but even if he wasn't, he still was bringing people to his stream because people knew his channel, and he was still monetizing. So are they overreaching other users? Well, look, the problem with that is this would be different.
Win stupid prizes. I'm sorry, I that's one of my favorite expressions.
Yeah, play stupid game, win stupid prizes. Pots for the heads of gamers. Yeah, exactly. So you're right. So here's the thing. If this was a single player game that you played only on your machine and you affected only yourself, cheat all you want. Pop in that game genie, do whatever you want. But this is, first off, Fortnite is free. It is a service. While it is free, when you play, your method of gameplay and your agreement to the end user license agreement when you play the game and on their servers means that you are affecting the gameplay for other people. So if you go on there and you're just like sniping and killing people from across the map because you're cheating, you're ruining the experience that was created by the developers for other gamers.
So, yeah, I completely agree, right? Cheaters are terrible. Dupers are terrible. All these people are terrible. It's interesting, right? Because, like, think about that statement, right? You're ruining the experience of other players.
Right.
Trolls aren't banned for life.
They should be.
Jerks aren't
Or
banned for
there
life,
should be
right?
definitely some sort of yes.
It's got. I mean, like it's hard to figure out where the line is on bad behavior. I think it's easy for us to say, "Hey, you're using a computer program to beat us." That's a banning, right? But then as you get deeper and you start slicing away that thing, you're like, well, that guy was just a jerk. Do we ban a guy for jerking?
So I think that, and I'm not siding with Epic or any company
You're right.
at all.
And like, if you're a celebrity, you shouldn't be cheating online, right?
Right.
You just should not be advertising it. Or I mean, I'm assuming that when you do it, you're laughing at people you're shooting at with these assist bots, right? You're laughing at how you're shooting people through walls or around corners or whatever these assist bots do, right? He did beg for forgiveness, Rolls. You can watch a video of him crying, if that was something you were into. That's not the way I wanted to phrase it, but yeah, if you wanted to enjoy that Schadenfreude of watching someone being punished for cheating in their game, you can watch that. It's out there. He did a big old tearful apologetic video for his fans and for Fortnite or an Epic to sort of forgive him, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm all for second chances too. I don't know how to make it.
It might have been heavy-handed.
Depending
on what he did, he wasn't using his main account. He was. I don't know how much money he probably made from his streamers and the views and all that, and he's probably still making, because apparently he went on and he apologized, but he still monetized the video that he put up. So if you watch that video where he's talking, it's monetized. So that means that while he's crying and asking for forgiveness, he's getting millions of views, which YouTube is paying for. Like, they're paying him money. He didn't demonetize that video.
So in this world, literally, there's no such thing as bad press, right? That's what it's all about.
No, absolutely not. I mean, a good example.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Rose. Like here's what it is. Like if you're a cheater, you're a cheater, right?
Right.
And this is a big problem I have in general, right? It's the old dating adage, right? If the person treats their waiter badly, they're eventually going to treat you badly, right? It's that sort of same thing. If you're a cheater in one game, you're going to cheat in other games. If you're going to ruin games for other people, you're going to ruin games for everybody.
So Tim, you're right. That's an interesting one. So someone else did it in a competitive event and then got a month. So that might have been maybe the first time and been like, hey, this guy got a month. Don't do this. And then like at that point, it wasn't 3 strikes individual. It was like, we've already said you're going to get banned. The game is now a couple years in existence. We're now in season 2 or whatever they're calling it, chapter 2. There's no excuse. We're not.
I bet Tim, they have the data now, right? So it's been like a whole year of them examining this. They've been banning cheaters as they go. They probably have a good method of finding and rooting out. We don't hear about them all because they're not famous. And I bet now what they're discovering is that even those 1-month bans, those cheaters come back and cheat again.
Right.
So now they want to make examples of famous people to say, hey, don't cheat in our game, because I'm willing to put money down. People who complain about cheating and don't see any changes don't come back. And in this sort of competitive world of games as a service, you want people to keep coming back and playing. Right? So if you're renowned as a place where cheaters can go play in the playground, people aren't going to play your game. They're going to move on to other arena games where, there's a dime a dozen now they come out.
Right. Exactly. Who got signed by a pro team? Then a bunch of angry boys said she cheated with a bot and she was forced to perform live. That happened. That was a couple of years ago. It was I remember that. Yeah, oh, of course. I mean, there's
Well, gaming, it's a shitty community, man. I don't know how to else. I'm sorry to.
So as much as I can enjoy some of the aspects of esports, the other side of the coin, like anything in this world, the other side of the coin can be very nasty. And competitive gaming is just that, and it thrives on macho masculinity, toxicness, like just you name it, it's bad. And yeah,
I'm taking Rose comments, man. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, look at this guy. He's bringing it back.
Bring back full circle. Yeah. The
Rose, if you want to be a producer on our show, please submit your resume to Mid-Geek Crisis. You're doing great.
Right. So here's interesting about that. Baseball was interesting to me. So, all right, if we're cheating in a game, you're being an asshole, right, online, and you're ruining it for other people. But in baseball, especially the 90s, I mean, everyone was juiced. I mean, like it was a locker room culture in a way. Like I don't want to say it was just like there was a big. I mean, come on, you see the body types. Like, go back and look at some of that footage, and you see those guys. Jose Canseco and all those big guys were just like jacked, and like Mark McGuire was jacked. They were just like huge. Everyone was on it, so everyone was knocking these like enormous. It's like when everyone was doing it, I don't know how much. It was just how much their bodies could tolerate at that point. It was like, I'm not saying that we need that. There's a side of me that would like, man, I would pay to watch just a juiced version of a sport, just to see how much they can like push until like
the bounds of the sport to nonsense.
Well, the bounds of the human body and the sport.
Yeah,
right?
Why don't we just add cyborg arms to our pitchers and cyborg legs to our runners?
I'm waiting for it.
What kind of game is that anymore?
I'm sure
then it just becomes fun demolition derbies where we're just having a grand old time, right?
Running Man? Are we just gonna do Running Man?
Running Man? No, Running Man was terrible.
What are you talking about? It's a great movie. It's a great movie. How dare you?
It's a phenomenal film. Running Man, if you haven't seen it way back when, what is that, 89, 91?
Yeah,
what was
that
basically
Smash TV.
It's
you remember the game? Smash TV, the movie.
You know, the Stephen King novella is so different. It's completely different from the TV show, from the thing. I mean, it has parts of it, but it's a very different story.
Yeah,
Running Man. I can't. How do we wind up mentioning Arnold Schwarzenegger every 4 or 5 shows?
He's
so cheaters suck. They're terrible. They're bad. They're bad for gaming in general. I would go nuts on that, but I mean, like, I also think AFKers should be banned on team games, right? So, like, my experience on Save the World for Fortnite,
and having one member on your team that causes all the stats. The zombies are attacking you stronger. There's 4 players, but only one of them is sitting back. So now you've only got 3.
Or what happened eventually in this community was it would literally be 4 people would log in and only 2 people were trying to actually play the match, right? So, and you wind up with these like terrible. Everyone has to work twice as hard because 2 people are mooching. You can't do anything about the moochers, and they disappear. And it's just
right because Save the World, every loot, all the loot that you would pick up was loot that you would take with you. Like it stayed with you.
Cheat codes totally still exist, Tim. I mean, I think even the last Grand Theft Auto had some cheat codes. You can sort of input them and things like that.
You can, but they've had to like taper them down, or what was cheats are now hidden behind paywalls, right? Like before, putting in a cheat code back in Mortal Kombat would unlock a secret character. Now that character is a DLC character.
Right. That's exactly right.
Which sucks.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's fine playing by yourself. Yeah, if you're just by yourself rocking it out.
I do it all the time.
I think it's even fine if everyone agrees. Like, it was fun playing Halo matches with ridiculous cheat codes in it and things like that. Like, as long as everyone signs on to adding in ridiculous things into the game, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Halo, I mean, like, you have big heads in Halo, all these sorts of. Again, I have a broad definition of what's a cheat code, right? But picking what's his name. The little guy in GoldenEye, right? That was never allowed because he was too small for you to play in GoldenEye.
Using what's his name? Oh God, I'm gonna date myself. Freaking the Odd Job.
Odd Job, that's it.
Great game.
Odd Job was not
Ooh, bold. Odd Job was not cheating.
Just because he was my favorite guy and I went 35-0, how could that be cheating?
Odd Job, you're right. Odd Job was not cheating, but you were definitely frowned upon. And using the golden gun wasn't either, right? Like, no?
You know what? I mean, a controversial statement. I used to say that looking at the other player's screen in a match was not cheating because it's right there. Everyone can do it. There's no way you could not do it.
Right.
But I know some folks took that very seriously when you looked at other people's screens to murder them.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
But it's right there on the screen. How could you can do it to me. I can do it to you.
So some other gaming news. Let's jump into some other stuff that happened this week. We talked about it last week that it was happening, and sure enough, BlizzCon happened. And
controversial topic.
Controversial topic. We Pedro and I had a nice discussion yesterday during lunchtime. I was eating my burger, and we went back and forth in chat, and we both came to the same agreement. I think by the end of it, we might have different point of views on how to get there, but we all got to the same agreement that we suck. Gamers in general, we all suck. I think that was the final outcome. I hate to put it that boldly, but we are consumers, and we like our games, and The short answer to what I'm trying to say is, no matter if this had been a small company with like 1 to 2 games, it did something like this, they'd be canceled. Like we wouldn't hear about them. But Blizzard is, I don't want to say too big to fail, but they're pretty too big to fail. As in, there's bound to be at least one franchise that I mean, not everyone, but a good percentage of you might have some investment, either time or money into. Wow.
If you've got to be the ardent defenders, right? There's going to be the folks,
If you've been playing WoW for the past 12 years, you're not going to abandon your character over this. You're going to maybe feel bad about it.
You could.
But most won't. So we've definitely
I wish more had.
Yeah.
The main crux of my discussion with Joe offline was more about the cognitive dissonance of the media frenzy and the online discussion amongst my gamer friends in the gamer community about how much Blizzard sucked for its behavior towards Hong Kong. It's actually Diablo 4, Jordan. Jesus, what the hell? And how it sucked. And then this BlizzCon happens, literally a week later. Like, it wasn't even that much time, right? BlizzCon happens, and all I see on my feeds, all my various gamer feeds, is, oh my God, look at this Diablo 4 video. Look at this Overwatch 2 video. Oh, my heart. I can't. And I'm like, guys, like, why are you even watching it? Like, why would you even introduce that desire and provide Blizzard? I've had this discussion with a few folks, and I think like obviously we can't win, right? China's won on this deal because everything we buy is produced there or goes through their supply chains, and we're complicit. There's no way out, right?
So it wasn't a week ago. So the whole Blizzard controversy started a month ago.
I mean, we've been talking about it for a month.
Right. So it's been a whole month of like quiet, actually, which is also kind of one of the sticking points that we'll talk about. But go ahead.
Yeah. So we could vote with our dollars, but that wouldn't be very effective, right?
Right.
So I think what we should be voting with is with the only currency we have left, and that is our voice. So posting videos and talking about Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, even if you don't buy them, still rewards Blizzard by providing them what they want, which is social media hits, likes, pluses, Twitter bombs. All those people are benefiting from it in this way that makes me so frustrated with the gamer community because because Overwatch 2 looks so great. We forgive them for banning a fellow player, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're picking one Chinese company over another, and I say all this,
and that was one of my arguments. I
say all this having contributed to the Bones 5 Kickstarter, where their miniatures are completely being produced in China before they're being produced in Texas. Right? Yeah, you're right. You got to pick one or the other. So I think if voting with your dollars is almost impossible.
Yeah, and that was one of the conversations that I was having with Pedro was like Blizzard. While I want to hate them more for the decisions that they made. And you're right. And I know, Jordan, you made the joke, but they apologized. You're right.
They're still not reversing their ban.
They haven't reversed the ban. I'm still waiting for some sort of.
I'm so sorry all of you are upset. That's what they did. Come on.
Right. No, I mean, I do find that the wording was, I'm not saying genuine. I'm not siding with them in any way, but I will say that they definitely were like, they admitted what they did by saying, we took way too freaking long to say something. And
we were hoping you would forget. Oh, and
here's Overwatch. But it didn't happen. We didn't have a right answer. We didn't know how to approach it. We will do better, is what they said. Sure. And I mean, and again, I've been trying to I don't want to be part of cancel culture, but Blizzard again is one of those scenarios where, again, they're too big to fail, right? And if it was a small company, a lot of people would have canceled them and made jokes and been done with it. But I mean, here's an example of this that I was thinking about the other day was Samsung had phones that were literally exploding in people's hands. They had to pull an entire line, but Samsung is too big to fail. So when they released the next phone with the same name, people went out and bought it. There was no, hey, by the way, you can't even get on an airplane with this device. But you're still going to keep trusting them. Again,
they're banking on short-term memories. They're banking on people who don't care. They're banking people who are willing to take that chance. I mean, this is what all these corporations are banking on. So I want to take a second here and
I don't agree with that.
Right?
That's not what they
cancel
said.
culture. Let's talk about cancel culture for a second.
Sure,
we cannot apply cancel culture to corporations or to governments or to the Republican Party, for example. Cancel culture is about canceling a single individual for their behavior. Okay, so when we talk about cancel culture on Blizzard, we're not canceling people. We're canceling a corporation for behaving socially in a way that is bad for society.
Right.
Okay, so I want to make sure, from my perspective here, I can cancel Bill Cosby. Be gone. But that does nothing to NBC. That does nothing to the government that protected him, to the infrastructure that protected him. All I did was say, Bill Cosby, you are canceled. I am not listening to you. You are going to the corner and you are silenced. I did the same thing with Louis C.K. He is canceled. I don't care about anything he does, even though he was one of my favorite comedians for a while, right? So things like that, people you can cancel. Blizzard, we can't cancel it. There's no way. You're right. It's too big. But we can talk about and discuss how we are not going to allow them to use our voices to sell their product. Which is what a lot of we did. All of us did. The gamers did it. I mean, it was amazing to me. I go to Polygon, which did tons of articles about the Hong Kong thing. And then
every story on there.
It was 10 stories in a row about Overwatch and Diablo 4 and the CEO and BlizzCon. I'm like, guys, like, come on. Come on.
I will say, I know Kotaku isn't always the favorite in the gaming media, but they made sure to keep that protest post at the top.
They did. Kotaku did.
They kept doing the update, and they would like, oh, the protests are still going on out front, and here's new pictures and here's new signs, and so they still kept posting. Here's the trailer for Diablo, and every time they talk about it, they even did snide remarks in it where like they talked about like Diablo and the evil corporation showing up. I saw that, which was a great blurb, and I was like,
thank you. You're still covering it though, but thanks.
Yes,
still getting the hits and things, yeah.
Well, because
there you go, Jordan. We're shifting the problem to other people, right? It becomes, and like you and I discussed, it's about where the individual now has to just come to terms with it and decide: is Overwatch 2 important enough to me that I'm going to buy it? Great. That's a personal decision. There's no reason to use your own voice to sell Overwatch 2 to other people anymore. Right. Let Blizzard do the hard work of both apologizing and scoring sales. Don't sell it. And proving it, and don't sell it for them anymore.
That's what I'm waiting for. I haven't. I don't get me wrong. I have watched that trailer. I've watched the Diablo trailer multiple times. I'm very excited. I really like it. I love Diablo.
You've watched it multiple times.
I love the CG, man. The CG is so good. The story looks good. Lilith looks amazing in that trailer. I mean, like everything about it. And again, I know you and I have different views on this particular topic that I'm going to talk about here, but I have to think about the idea that the developers of these games are just artists and storytellers, and they have no control over what the stupid CEOs and the business guys do when something like this happens.
They're just following orders.
But again, the following orders is they're not, because they didn't even get to follow. Like they're not telling the developers, by the way, go ban that guy. They're in the back.
Things do not change by people doing nothing, Joe. This is my frustration. I get it. They have jobs and they just want to create art. Awesome. You are creating art for a corporation that is funded and supporting the suppression of free speech.
Right.
That's it. Say it. Come on and say it. Hey, look at my beautiful Overwatch 2 game. Look at this great work I did. Also, we're going to ban people for talking about China, an oppressive authoritarian government that literally puts people in concentration camps.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I get it, but in this world, go get another job, man. There are thousands of developers moving between jobs, getting jobs doing other things. Overwatch 2 is not so important that you can't find work doing something else. If it's important to you, it's an individual choice. Yes, Jordan. Yes, the U.S. does the same thing. We're all the same here. And one of the things that's really weird is that now China's at the top. Joe's sipping on brown booze. There we go. A little advertisement. That's a nice bottle. And the machine that bottle must go through to get filled must be so complicated. Is it glass?
Yep.
Dude, that is frustrating. Is it tasty?
It is tasty.
Oh man.
It is tasty.
It's like almost 8 months for me.
Oh man.
Without any. Yeah, no, it's I'm gonna get like a year-long chip now soon.
No,
Overwatch 2
I know when. At PAX, I'll give it to you.
Man, if only if if the gamer community came together and canceled me, I would be proud. Right? That feels like a win.
But you're right. It is tasty. It is tasty. It is tasty.
Really tasty.
You're right. But to be fair,
enjoy your games, dude. It's fine. I don't judge. I think each individual has to come to their own discussion.
There's a story about again, the Hearthstone developers wish Blizzard had handled Hong Kong controversy differently. Like it's literally
we all do. We all wish they handled it.
You see, you've even got like actual developers speaking out, going, the initial decision was too harsh. Absolutely, like quoted, still have a job, creative directors. So like, that's interesting to me that they're like, there must have been some internal memo going, it's okay for you to say something, we won't fire you, but we'll put you in the blacklist probably.
my heart is 3 times too small, and I'm at the age now where I can no longer drink.
Yeah,
I mean that's the best way, right? I am the Grinch, and you'll never see the Grinch drinking. No, I'm on some medications that prevents me from drinking alcohol. So that's why I haven't had anything since my disaster at PAX East. Yeah, no, it's why all my friends, their version of an intervention was to come over to my house and drink all my booze.
That's right. When I was there last time, but recently, I think I was like, I cracked open the box, like, I blew the dust off of it. I was like, ooh, this tastes so old. I love it. I love it.
All of it's perfectly aging on my shelf because that was always a good gift for me. Oh, no shame in it. I don't miss it. I drink a lot more water now. Yeah, so there you go, Tim. Yeah, it's an age thing, a liver thing, a heart thing. It's all sorts of things. Yeah. I do miss the occasional shot of brown liquor to end a long week. I use that extra fridge space. Jordan, if you keep your booze in the fridge, that makes me so upset.
Yeah, well, remember, guys, if we
unless it's vodka, then you can keep that in the fridge.
Vodka in the freezer, but tequila and everything else not in the fridge. Our friend Legacy 7070 likes the sangritas, the really uberly sugary sweet alcohol. That's his jam.
Does that beer have cranberry in it? I can't wait to try it.
Today at work, a coworker came over because I've got a little espresso at my desk, and I offered him a coffee, and he's like, "Oh, all right, cool, yeah." So I made him a shot, and he's like, "It's got sugar in it, right?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "You mean it doesn't come sugared already?" I'm like, "No, man, it's straight coffee." He was like, "Does coffee come with sugar? Is that a thing?"
Black like my heart. Bitter like my heart. It's actually black and bitter like my heart.
So let's shift over to another developer that has left, and one that you brought up in the story earlier, Anthem. Chad Robertson.
We should all pour a little out for the end of Anthem, right? A little tiny bit of that. So here's a game that I'll admit I had some high hopes for. It looked like a suit of armor, Iron Man, fly around, shoot some stuff. I played the free weekend or the free beta weekend, I don't remember, and I was just like, what are they going to do with this? And they never crawl out of the hole. Some games crawl out. You have to drink this. That hurts. That's a real hard burn there. It's a huge community of cold coffee drinkers that just got burned hard there. So Chad has left, right? He was one of the live developers, the last live developer, right? Or the last important or the last interesting live developer who was pumping up Anthem. Yeah, Jordan, I don't know that anyone got the chance to play what the vision of Anthem was going to be.
No, Anthem is not a complete game. Whatever it is not what it was envisioned. It is a utter mess.
And it had snippets of things that was going to get you there, and it just failed miserably. Fell on its face. It felt, you know what it felt like? This is what I said, I think, when it came out. It felt like a game that would have been perfect 7 years ago.
Right. It's just too much competition.
It just felt too based in its, I don't know. So that's another big hit for BioWare, man. I don't know that.
So
BioWare
right, so lead producer Ben Irving left BioWare in August.
Yep.
Okay, but Chad Robertson is big deal because he's been with the company for 14 years. He was there with Star Wars, The Old Republic, Anthem, and probably a lot of the Mass Effect games. Like it's sad. This is a guy that is BioWare. When you start losing your core guys like that, you start losing the luster that was.
You'll start losing what BioWare was, right? So I don't know. I mean, I always hold out hopes that we'll always revisit Mass Effect or get a remastered, updated version. I don't think that's going to happen.
If BioWare wants to pull their name out of the muck for a little bit, I think they need to go back and find out who they were. Go resell the games that put your name on the map, and give me Mass Effect on the Switch.
Wow. Remastered with improved controls, I think.
Whatever. They can port it to the Switch, the PC versions or whatever, just to give me the graphics.
It's not on the Switch already.
I know, right? Everything else is.
Everything else is on the Switch. That's a surprise to me.
Yes.
You tried to play it on the Xbox and you just couldn't get into it, right?
The first one just had its issues, like its controls.
It's an old game. It's an old game.
And but give me a remaster. Maybe give me some quality of life fixes for the first one. And it doesn't need to be a full remaster, but give me like a patch or give me some sort of like quality of life fixes, some things that would make things move a little quicker.
And I would love to go back on a remaster version and rock out as a renegade again. It was just so much fun. There's still paths probably I can find in that game that I didn't think to explore.
Right, but having it on the Switch, handheld,
that would be
rock it. You take it to work. You'd hop on the bus and play Mass Effect. Like you miss your stop.
Might play it in some meetings, right? We don't talk about that. Wow, yeah, no, that would be.
So I'll pour one out for BioWare. Another one lost to the decisions of Anthem or EA, I guess is the best way to put it. And
they just couldn't. I don't know what happened. I have a friend that worked on Anthem, and then left the company soon after Anthem came out. And I'd love to pick his brain. I should reach out and just be like, hey, dude, like now that you've got another job and you're away from it, what happened with this game? What's your opinion on it? Get some insider information, because I don't know. It's one of those train wrecks that just never came to fruition in a way that I would have liked. And I'm sure if you can get past the boring gameplay and the crappy parts of it, the story is probably good. Like it's probably an interesting, intriguing, well thought out storyline because it's BioWare, right? That's what you're expecting. I would hope. I don't know.
We were talking about this. I had to update something real quick, and we were talking about this as Red Dead Redemption just launched. This wonderful headline for today.
Recommends feathering. That's because of the lighting effects and the ridiculous snow particles, right?
It's the horse testicles.
Yeah. I mean, that headline could be even with a maxed out computer, you still can't enjoy Red Dead Redemption. Oh, no, I shouldn't do that. Turns out, wow, $1,200.
I've got a 280, but not a TI. The TI adds another like $400.
Always the horse testicles.
It's always the horse testicles. It's always it's hard. It's hard to render that.
When I just. It's one of those gamer facts that I can't help but like. This is where we come back to the individual. I can't help but think about that developer and artist who like was sitting there one day drawing trees, drawing the animal sketches, and the developer comes over and the game designer comes over. He's like, "Dude, we're gonna do some physics for horse testicles. Can you give us some art for that by next week?" And the guy's like, "Wait, what?" And then he has to spend the next like 8 days watching horse testicles wobble so they can design. I'm just trying to imagine like how well, whoever does it, sure, yeah. You could tell I'm not in game development, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I think about it quite often. Every time I look at the box on my shelf, I'm like, there are horse testicles.
Wait, you think some dude had them programmed already, and then the artist had to? No, at Rockstar, they're so attentive to detail. There were lots of people who had to watch those videos. Yeah, exactly. The other day, oh Gary, you look so tired. What'd you do at the other day?
This is why Gary drinks.
It's like a flashback to Gary just watching YouTube video after YouTube on like the darkest corners of the web. Just zoom the worst camera angle, right?
IT security keeps showing up at his office. Like Gary, we have to talk about your net history. No, it's job related, guys.
I've got approvals.
I've got approval. Look, here's the approval. Here it is. It's right here. Manager said.
Come here. Tell this IT guy.
God, like I could just even imagine. I can't imagine that conversation with
So that's why we bring it up. Like there was a lot of there was a lot of behind the scenes effort into those particular physics that did not need to happen. Like there's not a gamer out there that was like physics in this horse game. Like there wasn't anyone out there who asked for it.
It's like that meme. Nobody.
Rockstar. We bring horse testicles.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
That's spot on.
So let's talk a little bit about the weekend. With your game, you have a campaign going, and this is it's been great.
Oh yeah, so they had the heist this weekend. We did a little D&D heisting. We set up. I say they set up the week before that they wanted to pull a heist to deliver some information to some folks at the party. I had a masquerade. I think were you there for the masquerade I had 2 years ago? I know Jordan was.
Yeah, that's where he picked up his.
That's right. You like melded into the stone. Yeah, no. So yeah,
and then that's when he got lost in the Fae and he came back older.
Yeah, so I had all 6 players. We had 2 guest stars and a friend of the show, Adam DJ Brett, was on, and he played the character he played in that campaign 2 campaigns ago. I let him play Xenos in the campaign as a 10th level rogue, and I was like, Adam, you are my wild card. Do whatever you want. And he totally played the wild card to perfection. He just disrupted everyone's plans, disrupted the match. It was fantastic. Yes, the Fae orgy is
that's right. That's right.
Y'all are the ones who turned it into that, by the way. You were like, oh, they're doing stuff, and I'm like, I didn't. All right, we'll do an X card. But it's good. I mean, like, it's interesting. I mean, this group, they avoid violence as much as possible. They don't use their spells as often as I would think them to use, right? They preserve their resources very intensely. But they're super
out a lot more than you'd want it to.
Yeah, but they're super clever about how they introduce new things, right? So one of the things I let my players do is if they have a cool idea, they can present it. And if I like it, it's there, right? And they do a lot of cool things with that. And it's just a blast. I love it. I love running D&D. I want to run it more. It is a blast. How about you? What's your gaming?
So this weekend, I've been working on the workshop. As I posted the pictures and whatnot, I've got my my laser engraver going and whatnot. Let's see.
How many penises have you engraved into wood blocks? Have you perfected the image of the
perfect rendition?
The Mid-Geek Crisis Michelangelo, the Mid-Geek Crisis David.
None yet, but we're getting there. I'm just not happy. There's piles of wood.
There's piles of wood. This is a pun that's going to play out forever. You understand?
Yeah. If you guys aren't familiar, we've got a running joke where we talked many years ago about having like a 3D printer or having like a lab of like building, and like the first thing geeks like to do, sadly, is you're always like, don't draw penis. And what do? Is you draw penis.
You black out and you're like, I just drew a penis. What? I told myself not to do.
Right. That. So we had this running joke where we're like, if you got a 3D printer, the first thing you do is probably print a penis.
Manufacture the perfect one.
The perfect one. And so we've got this running like skit in our head where you're like, you print it. No, not good enough. You throw it out. You're just like,
the shape it holds wrong.
Yeah, no. It holds wrong, and your kids, your wife leaves you. The kids, so kids, let's go. Daddy's gone insane. Stacks of like floppy penises in a corner. So yeah, that's the joke. We're that off.
And now Joe has 2 3D printers, right? And 3 3D printers and a laser engraver. Mailed, yes. I did get one. Yes, I got one in the mail, for the record.
Yeah, he did get one. He got the perfect.
Joe manufactured the perfect one just for me. It was,
The great part about it is it's glow in the dark.
Yeah, I know. It's in the gamer closet every so often. I'm like, oh.
you open the door, it's in the dark. She's like,
Goose penis. Oh no, it's Joe.
So yeah, I was working on the the workshop, and it's looking good. I sat down a little bit and I restored an old Game Boy.
Oh, very nice.
So it's now nice, shiny, brand new Game Boy Color.
Very nice.
And I gave it a nice backlit screen, which it never came with, of course.
Sure.
So we've now got a backlit
so it's
Game
no
Boy.
longer a Game Boy, is what I'm understanding.
Well, it's a Game Boy Color. It's just a Game Boy Color with actual color, as opposed to
you built it better. You made it.
I've improved upon it for sure.
There we go. Rolls is asking, how difficult was it to restore?
You have an original Game Boy. So when you say original, do you mean like the old, the fatty, the OG, the gray one? Those aren't hard to restore at all. There's all sorts of cool mods that you can do. You can do. There's now there's backlit LED LCDs that you can do. You can remove. So those screens remember the greenish tint that they had. They've got a polarizer on the screen that you can peel off, and you can put a new one, and then you can install what's called a bivert chip, which what it'll do is it'll flip it. So the parts that were black are now white, and the parts that are white are now black. So that way, once it's backlit, it looks different. So you bivert the colors.
Wow.
So there's bivert. So the gray, the old fatty. At the same time, a lot of people might have like bad. They might have lines on their screen on their Game Boy.
That's what happened to many of my old Game Boys.
Yeah, so that's an easy fix, because all it is when you look at the actual screen on it, the actual screen has got a ribbon cable at the bottom, and the ribbon cable is just a bunch of little pins. And those over time starts like separating. So you can literally grab like a heat gun and like just turn it on, heat it up, and just push with your finger to get it to push back down, and those pixels will come right back to life. Yeah, it's pretty fun to fix those. I've got a red one. I've got a red OG one when they did the Play It Loud series, as they call it, when they went to the original style with multiple colors. I have a red one, and I added a red backlight, so it's red and black when you play it. But I prefer this one because this will play old regular end games, and it's also now backlit. So yeah. But this one's been restored. It's the second one that I did. I had done another one.
To answer your question in a roundabout way, Rolls, it doesn't sound like the old one is all that hard to restore. You just got to figure out where the problem is, and then probably
find out what the problem is.
Videos out there, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there's probably a large community of people.
Oh yeah,
that'll help you right out in a second.
What's nice is the shells.
Battery connection is corroded.
Yeah, battery, clean those out, take it apart, throw all of it into like a sink full of nice hot water, including the board. You won't damage it. Just take a little Dawn, scrub it down, let it dry, wash it with alcohol to get, to remove all the evaporation right afterwards, and let it dry after that. And that's how you can clean all sorts. A lot of people think that, water is what kills it. It's water when you turn
power.
It on.
Yeah. You got to make sure it's completely dry.
So, you can, if you watch a couple of videos of old computer restorations and whatnot, they'll take old computers, motherboards out of like corporate environments that they've like trying to restore. They'll pull them out, they'll dunk them in like hot water with Dawn and scrub them down, get all that dirt and make them look like brand new. And then after that, they grab a tub full of alcohol and they dip it, get it, saturated in the alcohol, and the alcohol gets in where the water is and evaporates
it all up. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And then
give that a try, Rolls. Take it apart and wash it with some water and alcohol. And don't hold us responsible if it stays broken. Right? That's
right. Yeah, follow online. You can buy any color shell you want. You want a red one, a green one, a clear one. New buttons. You want different color buttons.
There was at least two vendors at
at
Retro GameCon that were selling parts for Game Boys, just bins.
Yeah.
Just like little plastic bins full of old broken systems, and of course a lot of restored systems there, and things like that. There you go. I'd love to find out, Rolls, if you can go out there and repair it. I know what I did with all my old systems. I gave them to Joe.
Hey, right? Give me a bunch of my suggestion. This isn't coming from a piracy standpoint, but coming from collectors. Even retro collectors nowadays are just like, they buy games, they buy tons of games, and they have them on the shelf, but they're getting harder and harder to find. Rare games are going up in value. Some of those beloved games that you like have gone up in ludicrous prices that you can't afford them. Most collectors buy the games that they want, but they still buy stuff like that. So they buy themselves an EverDrive.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they load on legitimate copies of legitimate things on there.
And just play the games that you're looking for to play here, and then you can still keep your nice games on the shelf, which I do.
Mm-hmm. And Game Boy games aren't exploding in value so much as other things, but all it's going to take is a few are, but all it's going to take is like Stranger Things season 4 to have 11 playing on a Game Boy, and then
that's how usually it works. There'll be like one game or whatever that just gets the gets the mention somewhere, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's everywhere. But
keep our original term. Listen, I don't know where you are, Rose. I don't know where anybody is, but there's there's large communities of retro gamers. I was super impressed by Retro Game Con. I don't know if they're just a New York local con, but I know they travel from city to city here and there. The amount of retro games they have was just ridiculously fun. That's bringing back some memories, dude. That's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's nice to have it in
color. I'm over here playing my DS Pokemon Pearl on slow. Just last story. My daughter did? She was upset that I had gotten past her in Pokemon because she got stuck on one of the trainers and I got past that trainer. And even though I was kind and I gave her my fire Pokemon so she could beat that trainer, she went into my game and walked my character all the way back to the beginning. Through all the caves, through all the trees, all the way back.
She long trolled you. That's the long troll.
So I log in and I'm like, where the hell am I? I am all the way back in the starter town.
She dropped you back at Pallet Town. Straight up,
I'm like, what the heck is going on? It really is impressive. I'm clearly raising her right? Like she enjoys this stuff, and she also knows how to perfectly troll me.
So, Rolls, if you haven't been following the channel, you're newer to the channel than a lot of people. I'm the retro guy. I have tons of stuff. If this room is a mess right now because it's still since I moved here in August, but one of the big recent pickups that I've got right here is, you see that right there? That is a plasma. I found a plasma TV because plasmas have actual blacks. And that's a Sega Saturn right there that I've got a whole room. I'll post pictures about the game room and all that. But that was one of my recent pickups. And I actually got off of work today and went to pick this up from a guy because I'm a great solderer, but there's a guy in town that does a lot of installs, and he's got an actual like a scientific microscope so that you can go in and do the small solders. And did my Dreamcast modification that I've been wanting to. So if you see that right there, that is HDMI.
Wow.
So that is 1080p straight off of the graphics chip.
So when are you streaming this?
Soon, absolutely. I'll be streaming.
Tweet this guy if you want to. If you have any, I tweet him all the time for retro gaming questions. Anytime I want to play. I mean, the fact that my DS's work is because of Joe helping me out and that sort of stuff. So talk to him online because he's way more skilled in that. Yeah, that is pretty sweet. It makes me sad that you're not up here and you're not a short walk away to really build this community up for the game.
I know.
So we're at the hour mark, folks. Thanks for joining in. Always a wonderful conversation. Rolls, Jordan, Tim, everyone that joined. I'm going to scroll up in a second. I'll probably missed a few names. Legacy Tim,
Adam, Brian,
Sanctimonia, Adam, Brian, all the folks that jumped on and said hello. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Again, music from here to 4 at the beginning. Like, share, subscribe, hop on to Twitch, go to twitch.tv, find us at the Mid-Geek Crisis. Go ahead and subscribe there. Subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and follow.
We're even on Mixer now? I had no idea. Next week we'll be on It's going to be ridiculous.
I've spread it out enough. I'm noticing a lot of people come in from Twitch now, and I'd like to thank Jordan and sibling
streamers.
They've got us running when we stream, we're on their channel. When they're on, we stream them. So we're kind of sharing our community. So we're kind of doing that whole thing. And
I always watch their show later because it's like right at bedtime for the kids, which is such a pain in the butt.
Or
Yes,
spread
add
it.
sibling streamers. They're awesome. And then they're playing Harvest Moon, which is one of my favorite games from back in the day. I have to see if I still have my copy somewhere, because it's a fun game. Yeah, Harvest Moon in November.
Yeah, Harvest Moon for November, absolutely. Guys, again, love you guys. Take care. We'll
It did
see you
not age well.
It did not age well. Without talking too much about it, we've gotten better. Without Harvest Moon, there's games like what's the game that you played on the
Stardew
Switch?
Valley.
Stardew Valley. Games like Stardew Valley have popped up, and that's kind of replaced the Harvest Moon. So I'm wondering if we get a new Harvest Moon with all the new changes.
Yeah, maybe eventually. Who knows? Thanks a lot, folks. Everybody, pleasure.
51 in the can.
Yeah,
Have a good one,
be
guys.
kind. Thanks.
And there.